Alright, today's video, a non-given to me, non-sponsored review of the Tutus 12 volt dual zone freezer fridge. No urbanized life but worldwide travel to create a cool trip for worldwide car lovers. This product is mainly suitable for outdoor self-driving tour or car hotel, but also can be used in hotels, family type hotels, and other living environment. This is the 40-liter version of the Tutus middle size. I'm glad I went with the 40 and I didn't cheap out on the 20. I always cheap out. Like I cheaped out on this power station. I should have got the bigger power station, but that's for a different review. So this is the middle size and it just fits. My seat's all the way back. I don't know if the 50 would have fit, but the 40 barely fits, and I barely have enough space to open it up, and it's right between my seat and my bed, just like I had it planned. Here's the fridge section. It's a little small. All I have here is 4 cans and this little adult Lunchable. That's it, but the freezer section's a lot bigger. I'm gonna pick up some more ice cream later when I hit the road. So that's what it looks like. So fridge section's pretty small, only 4 cans, but freezer section's really deep. This has been plugged in for about 45 minutes on eco mode, and I like setting it at the lowest temperature, -20. The display is reading 0 right now. I'm going to show you guys the actual temperature in the freezer. So here we go. 12 degrees, 11 degrees, 12. So 12 degrees. I believe things start freezing at 30 degrees. So it's working great. The seat is all the way back and the seat's reclined the way I like it when I drive, and it barely touches the fridge, so perfect size, and the vents have plenty of room to cool off the fridge. I have some ice blankets in here. You guys can't tell that they're not solid, so what I'm gonna do is I'll throw this water into the freezer section and we'll see if it actually freezes in here. That's a good test. That's a good test for this freezer. There you go. Okay, this has been plugged in for about 2 hours. This is kind of getting soft. This one's still solid, and this one's really soft. So here's a tip for you guys. What I would do, I did this on my drive last night. This ice blanket is melted, but this one on the bottom is still solid. So if you wanna bring ice cream with you, I would bring ice blankets that are already frozen and wrap your ice cream in ice blankets, so you're kind of like prepping it for the freezer. So that's how you got to do it if you want to bring ice cream with you. Just bring a couple ice blankets and wrap up your ice cream, and that'll help keep your ice cream solid. Okay, for the last 2 hours I've had this in non-eco mode, so let's see how much colder it is in non-eco mode. I already ate my ice cream. It was somewhat melted, but still pretty good. So now I want to test this out in non-eco mode, so let's see how much colder it is in non-eco mode. Okay, I saw 7 degrees, 8, 8.9, 9. Okay, it's it's in single digits now. Yeah, see, 9.8. So let's see if it's any better. I got some goodies right now. Okay, this has been in non-eco mode, full power mode for the past 2.5 hours. The water is even starting to ice up. Not quite there yet, but it's starting now, so it does have the power to freeze. In low power, non-eco mode, my ice cream was melty after 5 hours. It was halfway melted and I wrapped them in ice blankets. So now I'm going to try this. I'm not using ice blankets. I just have it in full power mode. These are delicious. I picked up 3 of them. They used to make these in the 80s and now they remade them. Dee 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 dee. Dee 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 dee. Do you get the reference? Here's the stock light. It's kind of weak. I was using my extra light that I have here. Okay, let's close this up. I will check on this ice cream in about 3 hours. No ice blanket this time. Alright, it's 2:22 right now, and now this is reading -7 degrees. Still on normal mode, not eco mode. So I got my ice cream around 10:50. So 10:50, so almost 11, 12, 1, 2. That was more than 3 hours ago. So let's go ahead and check out my ice cream right now. Put a light here, stock light. Here's my other light right here. Still feels solid. And here's the water. Now it's really icy. Actually, it's almost solid. Okay. It looks like non-eco is the way to go. Full power, not eco mode. And you won't even need ice blankets. There, -1.6 degrees. Yeah, now we're in the negatives. One more time. Yep, -1. Hit another section. That's 3 degrees, 2 degrees, 1 degree, -1 degree. Okay, so not quite -7. Drop my light. Not quite -7, but we are seeing negative numbers now. So I think that's the answer. Just full power this thing, not eco mode, and you'll be able to keep things frozen. Alright, let's check my ice cream right now. So I'm gonna grab 2 of these. So when you go full power, you don't even need to do the ice blanket gimmick. Yeah, these are hard. They solid. So this is frozen. Check the other ones. Yep. I got this one in the box still. So yeah, they're solid now. And then my water here, it's almost there. So I figured this out. it out. Full power, not eco mode. And you're good to go. Let's check the ice cream. 2:28. Almost 3 hours later, and the ice cream is looking good. I figured out my 12-volt freezer. It's plugged into the 12-volt port right now. Full power, lowest temperature setting, no need for an ice blanket, and you got yourself some ice cream. Okay, here are my bought this myself, non-sponsored thoughts on this $300 freezer. I'm impressed by it, but I want to let you guys know what to expect. I have no experience with the ARB fridge. $800 to $1,000, there was no way I was going to buy an ARB, not even $500. $300 was the reason why I decided to give this a shot. $300 is my budget for something like this. If I couldn't find nothing like this for $300, no ice cream on the road, and I would still just use a cooler. So my expectations were pretty much met, but there was somewhat a little disappointment. I'm still gonna give this thing an 8.7 out of 10. I like it a lot. Here's the good. you could run it off of your car. That's why I wanted it. While I'm driving, I wanted to be able to run this off my accessory port. I'm gonna tell you guys some more stuff here in a second. Let me plug this back in. It should read E1 again. It's 0 degrees right now. I have it set at -20. I've been running this for a couple hours, but I stopped checking on it. Okay, see how it says E1? That means the output voltage is too low. I have no experience with the ARB fridge, and if you guys, someone who has an ARB fridge is happened to be watching this, I was expecting this to run off something like this jump box. Like when I'm not running my car, if I had this junk box, for example, like I was expecting to be able to run this overnight through my jump box. I've only been running this for 2 or 3 hours, and it already says voltage too low. So if you're planning on using this overnight, you better have a good electrical source. Like if you're running solar, you're gonna need 2 batteries to run this overnight. Your solar has to be on point, your electricity has to be on point. I ran this through my not my jump box, this is my jump box, but I ran this through my electrical power station, and it only lasted 4 hours in eco mode, 4 or 5 hours in eco mode. And like I mentioned earlier, if you're gonna use this for ice cream, you gotta go non-eco mode, full power to eat ice cream. It's still really impressive, but your power has to be on point. That's just the truth of this unit. You could run it off your car's accessory port, you could run it while you're driving, but when you turn off your car, it'll read E1 after being parked for about 15 to 20 minutes. So you can't leave it parked, you can't leave it plugged into your car for hours and hours, maybe 15-20 minutes before it reads E1, voltage too low. So while you're driving, it's cool. You could drive. I drove 5-6 hours straight the other night, and it was just fine like that. So that's what to expect out of this thing. Yeah, you could use it. There's a 12-volt accessory port. You could use it. You could use it while you're driving. That's the draw of this. It draws just, you know, the power draw is low enough to run something like this, but not low enough where you could run it off something like this for, you know, overnight, if that's what you're hoping for. No, you're not running it off this overnight. And if you're going to run it on solar, you got to have 2 batteries, because the power draw isn't as low as I thought it was going to be. Low enough for the car, but for solar, you're going to need 2 batteries overnight. 2 degrees, the E1 low voltage code is gone. I'm running it through my AC to DC converter, through my household plug here. 196 watts, high wattage right now. It's working on getting the fridge into the negatives. In about 30 minutes it'll start hitting negative numbers again, since I had to restart it since I got the low voltage off the jump box. This starts getting cold within 15 minutes. You could feel the sides of the unit getting cold inside, but you got to give it a good hour. You got to give it a good 30 minutes to an hour to prime completely. Yeah, it's cold. It gets cold in 10 to 15 minutes. But you got to give it a good hour before the whole unit's cold inside, and you could throw some ice cream in there. Here's the 12-volt plug it came with. I was using an AC to DC converter just to show you guys the wattage consumption. This also comes with a wall plug, which I'm using now, and the watt draw is a lot lower, 84 watts right now. So if you're going to use it into a household plug, don't use an AC to DC converter. Preferably, you want to use the 12 volt. That's the lowest power consumption, but there's no way I could get the wattage for you guys just using this. That's why I had to use the AC to DC converter. But it was a good 100 watts, 100 watts more than using the standard wall plug. Now it's only 82 watts. So there you guys go. Still a pretty low power consumption, less than 100 watts. It's supposed to be only 40 watts. In fact, let's press Eco. See if it drops at all in Eco. See, it's still reading 82 in Eco. So that's why earlier I said just go full power. Go full power on this thing. I'm at -2 degrees. And I have it set for -20. I want it to be as cold as possible. I've seen it go as low as -15. So this is what I'm going to do. Let's take a look at the watt draw. We're at 80 right now. So instead of -20, how about we just set it to... It's at 2 right now, so let's set it at -2. It's already at -2. So let's see if the wattage drops a little bit. Since it's already at -2, I'll give it a... -3 now. Okay, let's go to... let's set it to -3 since we're already there. Okay, we'll give it some time and see if the watt does go down. It's 80 watts right now. It did drop down a little bit, 68 watts. So from 80 to 68, 70, so about 10 watts. They're back to 68, 70. It's fluctuating. Okay, I'm gonna set it back to -20 now. And then to save your setting, you just hold the button down and it'll flash really fast. See? Okay. Like I said, you gotta go full power, lowest temperature for ice cream. About to wrap up this review. Headed out now to run some errands. I'll pick up a few things to throw into this freezer to give you guys an idea what it could hold. One more thing to add. It has a battery rundown protection, low, medium, high. At low, it'll shut off automatically when your voltage is 9.6, medium's 10.1, and high is 11.3. I just keep mine at low because if I have this plugged into my van, I'm not going to have it plugged in for more than 15 to 20 minutes while I'm out. And if I'm going to be out longer than 15 or 20 minutes, I'll just plug it into one of my power sources. Like I stated earlier, a lot of reviews I've seen about this thing are sponsored. I don't think I've seen a review of this yet of someone who bought it with their own money. So this is what this review is. So when I saw the sponsored reviews, I saw promo codes for it. I tried a few out, none of them worked. So I just Google searched promo codes. I used the FB15. I'll flash it up. I think it still works. So that's how I got this for $290 instead of I think $329. Ran errands before I go to work. I want to give you guys an idea what the capacity is like of this freezer fridge combo. This is a whole gallon of water right here, Twix ice cream bars, and I still have this whole half of the freezer here. The fridge section is small, shallow too. This is just a bag of chips. And then I have some Fanta. The Fanta is too tall, so you have to lay it sideways. The right depth for a can. I'll give this an 8.7 out of 10. I'm really happy with it. I recommend it, especially if you're not willing to pay $800 to $1,000 for an ARB fridge. Even $500 is a lot of money, but $290 is a great price. Hopefully it lasts long. That's going to be the question, but as it's functioning now, 8.7 out of 10. It's drawing more power than I like. If it drew less power, I'll give this a 9.2 out of 10. Why not a 10 out of 10? I wish they split the fridge and the freezer. That's it. The freezer is way bigger than the fridge. If they had split the fridge and freezer, I would give this a 9.3 out of 10. If the power consumption was lower, 10 out of 10. But with the shallow fridge and a big freezer and somewhat high power draw, it's getting an 8.7 out of 10, and I recommend it. For $290, this thing's great. Really happy with it.